Giving the city's key, promise to freeze the rent, lift the weight off our backs for the folks in the buildings where the system keeps us trapped. Free buses on the avenue, hop on, no fare, just truth. From the Bronx to Brooklyn, Queens to Staten, this is proof. Child care from the crib, 6 weeks to 5, we live. No more choosing work or raising kids, both we give. Minimum wage to 30 by 30, make a hustle real, raise the floor for the city's soul, show the system how we feel.
It's the hope that real New Yorkers been asking for. From the projects to the brownstones, open up the door. Put the people in the power, let the profit hit the floor. So it's voice, our choice, we rise, we soar.
Yeah. They say he's too bold. They whisper in the lobby lights, haters checking corners, critics calling fights. They point to budgets, they say, can he really pull it off? But we built the city with our hands, we know when the pulse is soft. They talk radical, socialist like it's a dirty tag. But when your rent's sky high and your wages drag, you don't ask for moderate, you grab the bag. To the ones saying it's impossible, we say watch us move. The city belongs to the many, not the few who
This is the hope that real New Yorkers been asking for. From the subway to the skyline, hear the lines roar. Put the people in the power, let the profit hit the floor. So we voice our choice, we rise, we soar. It's the hope that real New Yorkers been asking for. From the subway to the skyline, hear the lines roar. Put the people in the power, let the profit hit the floor. So we voice our choice, we rise, we soar.
From a story of the Harlem, the dreams got dusty in the rain, but now we roll the dice of justice. Change is changing the game. He's speaking for the working class, the immigrant, the youth, giving voice to the silence. Now we speak our truth. They try to drown the movement, but we built the wave. The haters talk about obstacles, we built the paves. City run grocery stores in each borough, lower food price. Don't gotta serve the wallet first, we serve the life. Affordable housing, 200,000 by 10. Put the roof above our heads before we turn to men. Tax the millionaires, let the city breathe again. So our children don't inherit this grind and pretend. To the architects of doubt, we still thank you in advance. Cause you can't do that, lit the spark of our revenge.
This is the hope that real New Yorkers been asking for. From the hard knock sidewalk to the glitz of Times Square floor. Put the people in the power, let the profit hit the floor. So we voice our choice, we rise, we soar. This is the hope that real New Yorkers been asking for. Breaking chains, making change, opening the door. Put the people in the power, let the profit hit the floor. So we voice our choice, we rise, we soar.
New York, the city's yours, take the ticket, ride the line. Together we build, together we shine, leave the fear behind. Bam, I'm down, he's standing on the platform of the many. This is our time, our climb for the people by the plenty. Yo.
Yeah, from the culture
to the courtroom.
This is Truth Uncut. From the culture to the courtroom, front row seats. When Dennis Byron speaks, history speaks. From the culture to the courtroom, front row seats. When Dennis Byron speaks, history speaks. From the culture.
No cap, no spin, just facts. If it matters, we cover it. What's ready, B.I.B.? Ooh, Barbara wanna know. Ooh, it's shit the Dennis Byron show.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Put a 1 in the chat if you hear the sound of my voice. Good morning all over America. Yes, today is the day of the jury selection for the trial of Karmelo Anthony. I have people inside the courtroom and on the ground. Today is Voir Dire. Voir Dire, ladies and gentlemen, is the questioning of potential jurors in this case. In this high-profile case that has garnered a lot of media attention pre-trial. And I'm going to get on the screen real quickly. We're going to talk about this. And I'll let you guys know I've been locked in for the last couple of weeks with this trial. And there's been a few things that have occurred, almost didn't occur. And now it is in full motion right now. So for those who are tuning in, thank you. I know you guys hadn't seen me on I've been on cross West Coast to East Coast. I woke up in one city, ended up in another city. It's just crazy. But now we're here. We're back in we're in New York City right now. But I have my two dedicated media professionals, and that is LawyerBae and Nick at Night. They are on the ground, ladies and gentlemen. So good morning, everybody. I know you guys hadn't seen me in a minute, but I've been working. I've been working behind the scenes doing a bunch of stuff, especially in New York City. I was in Atlanta over the weekend. Actually Friday. Had a meeting with a very interesting, let's just say, judge. We'll leave it at that. But let me, without any further ado, let me get on camera so you guys can know they don't have me kidnapped somewhere. Okay, let's see. Okay, how's that? That's better. Okay, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. So this morning, within the next, 15 minutes, people will be filing inside the courthouse for the jury selection, and I just want to get you guys up to speed of what's been happening in this case for the media. And I think that's when people have been voicing their concerns as to the blackout that has occurred with media coverage in this case. And I'll be honest with you, the way this case is being handled for media coverage is unprecedented. Unprecedented. Have never seen the way this case has been blocked by members of the press. And when I say blocked, we have not been able to gleam into the motions that have been filed in this case. There's so many motions that are filed in a murder case pre-trial, and we haven't had the opportunity. And when I say we, members of the media, as well as the public, because we actually convey what we see to the public. There's been a total blockade on documents being released publicly. There's a gag order. And this is unusual in the sense that there are two individuals, one individual now that is fighting for his life, and there's another one who's lost his life, and that is Austin Metcalf. And my condolences out to the Metcalf family, because no one wants to ever endure the loss of a loved one. And I will also say that Karmelo Anthony will have to take the stand in this case. He will have to get on the stand and tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jurors who have yet to be selected what exactly happened that awful day where he, according to the indictment, stabbed Austin Metcalf. Now, there's a lot of chatter that's on the internet about what people suspect happened, what people are opining on. But at the end of the day, we will at some point have an opportunity to not hear in first person, but hear from the people that are inside the courtroom. And let's talk about the people that are inside the courtroom. Within the last week or two, there was many requests filed into the court for media access, for cameras to be in the courtroom. And when I looked at the amount of people that had requested, and when I say the amount of people based on this type of case, I said, well, there's going to probably be, at least a camera in the courtroom that can broadcast this case. I do know that there have been at least 4 news outlets, TV stations, local TV stations that have been approved to be inside the courtroom, none of which will be granted the ability to bring their cameras in. Then I know Law and Crime has been approved as well, who it also covers live trials. And I cover live trials. But once I realized that none of these individuals and or corporations have been granted the right to show a camera, bring a camera in the courtroom, then I said, okay, so we don't have a camera, and then we don't have no still photography in the courtroom as well. There's one approved sketch artist. This case is being treated like a federal case. When I say it's treated like a federal case, what I'm saying is that these type of measures are typically put in place in federal cases where media can only take notes. But we do have an opportunity to at least see some of the pre-filings, because unless this is some very sensitive information, and I would say that the judge has said in his ruling that he wants to protect the rights of Karmelo Anthony as well as to protect members of the jury. And we also know that prior to this case becoming let's just say a public spectacle of sorts, a judge who granted Karmelo Anthony a $250,000 bond has also received threats. And those threats are stemming from the fact that people don't believe that Karmelo Anthony should be fighting his case from the street. And I don't recall a case where someone is charged with first-degree murder that someone who's actually been able to fight this case from the street. And not to say that he doesn't have the right to. He's an honor student. He's never been in trouble before. But some are arguing, why did he bring a knife allegedly to a track meet, and what was that all about? And I'm concerned about anyone bringing weapons to a high school function and where others are there, because just think about this. I don't know, when I came up, when I came up in high school, I didn't carry weapons. I never brought a weapon to school. But is this a case where he was bullied and he felt threatened? Because there's a reason why people carry weapons, for safety reasons. And then it's sad that that people have to carry weapons when they're participating in these extracurricular activities in school. And I'm not going to say that, he didn't have a right to have a weapon on him, but what was the reason? And he's going to have to get on the stand, if this is a self-defense case, and tell his story to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. What prompted this altercation? And how many witnesses will give testimony to support his claim of self-defense? And then the family's been very vocal in this case. And then once again, I give my condolences to the family. They want to know why their loved one was stabbed. Was this mutual combat? Was a knife met with a knife? Was a gun met with a gun? Were these hands met with those hands? So there's going to be many questions people are going to ask. How did it escalate to this? And the other part to this is, this has become a racially sensitive case. I'm looking at posts on Facebook, and I'm looking at how some people are viewing this case. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a jury impaneled at some point before Thursday where trial testimony should begin. And we'll be joined in with attorney LawyerBae. I just got a text from her. She just said that she's in traffic, but she has a seat in the courtroom. One of the lucky ones that has a guaranteed seat in the courtroom. And we know Neek at Night will also be in the courtroom as well. But ladies and gentlemen, whatever the outcome is, both sides deserve a fair and unbiased trial. And many around the world are trying to glean inside the courtroom to see what is the evidence that will support Karmelo Anthony's claim of self-defense. We're going to have to forget the noise because there's a lot of people making noise. I even heard the Proud Boys showed up during pre-trial. The Proud Boys. Why are the Proud Boys showing up at a case involving two young people? But that's a conversation for another day. They're not about this case. The family of Mr. Metcalf, the father, said he did not want that type of energy surrounding his loved one. So we have at least the family of Mr. Metcalf that is just wants to see justice. Just wants to see justice. And a lot of you are going to say, Mr. Byron, everyone deserves justice. And I agree. I've covered self-defense cases. And interestingly, I covered a big case 13 years ago involving the killing of a rapper named Slim Duncan. And the person accused of the killing was rapper Young Vito, Vincent Hardiman. I listened to the testimony of Mr. Hardiman, and he made a legitimate case to the jury. He got on the stand, and he testified why he felt that he had to use a weapon to defend himself. And in that case, that was in Fulton County, Georgia, was presided over by Judge Craig Swall. You guys can look up the video. You can search on you can search on YouTube. The videos are there. It's actually in the playlist. I put it in the playlist last week because I wanted to kind of draw a parallel to this case as it is to a self-defense case and why the details of the testimony matters. What was the mindset of Karmelo Anthony at the time he used the weapon? Was he being jumped? Was there some type of threat made against him during this situation? Because according to the indictment, Mr. Anthony allegedly stabbed Mr. Metcalf and then fled. And then according to the indictment, Mr. Metcalf asked those around him to get him help. So the question that the juries have to decide is this murder one, or is there going to be a lesser included offense in this case? Because he's facing 1 to 99 years in prison. This is not a death penalty case, and clearly this is not a death penalty case because if something was done in the heat of the moment, then it's not a premeditation in this case. So the question is there any evidence of some type of premeditation to prove murder one? And I don't think I don't believe, based on what I've read and what's been kind of put out in the public by way of the family, that they didn't know each other. They didn't know each other. Now, some of you may have information that can shed a different light on the situation. Some of you may be witnesses. And we will know on Thursday at least what witnesses will be taking the stand, because we'll have the opening arguments by both counsel and the prosecution, and then we'll have testimony to begin. So let's go back to the blackout of sorts for the members of the press, members of the public. There was also, I meant to reference this earlier. Initially, even manual note taking wasn't going to be allowed in this case, which that raised a red flag for me that a judge would preclude any note taking in a public trial where people are just trying to get the information. Some people don't have the ability to retain that type of information, and there's a lot of legal jargon that's going to be discussed in this case. So when I learned that there was no note taking, meaning a pen and pad would be allowed in the courtroom, that raised a concern for me as a journalist covering a public trial. So I petitioned the court to lift that ban of note taking, because this is a public court. There's been enough information shielded from the public. But to now tell people, general public, that they are not allowed to take notes, it appeared to be a constitutional issue. And I said as such, this appeared to be a constitutional issue. Because what harm can someone create taking notes if the judge has already said, one, you cannot reveal witnesses and jurors in this case? And I hope those who are being allowed access to the courtroom will not violate those rights of the jurors, witnesses, or the family of Mr. Metcalf and the defendant, Mr. Karmelo Anthony. Because at the end of the day, people want to know, how did we get here? How is an honor student fighting for his life? And why is Mr. Austin Metcalf not here as well? So if you are one of those lucky ones that will have an opportunity to sit in the courtroom, respect the process, take the best notes you can, because there are going to be people taking notes. And how people tell this story is going to determine how the public receives it. It's my position, and it has always been in every trial I've covered, that cameras should be in the courtroom. Because when cameras are not there, dishonest things happen. I've seen that. And I think the public has the right to see what is happening in real time. This is not the first murder case that occurred in Texas. And this won't be the last one. And I don't believe that any judge should set this bar so high that members of the public aren't able to see what is happening when their tax dollars are paying for the jobs of the prosecutor, of the judge, of the bailiffs, of the jurors. The people in Texas have a right to know how their tax dollars are being spent. And anyone who says, no, we don't need cameras, you might want to rethink that. We need cameras, especially when people are already questioning the legitimacy of this indictment. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will see if my co-host will be able to at least come in. She's at the court right now, so let me bring her. Let me see if she can. Let's see if she's able to get on. Stand by, guys. We're gonna mic her up. Stand by.
Hello?
Hey, where you at? We're live.
I'm about to log in.
Okay, all right. Are you in a good spot?
Well, yeah.
Okay. All right. So just click on the link and we're here.
Okay.
All right. Bye. All right, guys. You heard she's about to log in. Stand by. I have not read any comments, but I'm sure they're coming in plentiful. Stand by, guys. Stand by. Okay, so okay. I just want to. I'm going to address some of the comments right now before my co-host joins in. This one here is just, and I'm not going to listen. This is, you have a First Amendment right to say what you want to say. Just be respectful. But someone says, why waste taxpayers' money? He had no business at the school campus. Well, I don't know if that's actually true. And to say, why waste the taxpayers' dollars? So what do you want, a lynching? You just want people to go straight to the death, the gas chamber? People have the right to know what's happening. They have the right. And he has the right to a fair trial. You don't know the circumstances, so you can't say why is it wasting. No, it's wasting taxpayer. No, it's not wasting tax. It's wasting taxpayer dollars when all the mechanisms for a public trial is not being instituted. That's when there becomes a problem. But it's not a waste of taxpayers' dollars. Not yet. I've seen a case of a waste of taxpayers' dollars, and this happened in a case involving the lawyer who was accused of killing his wife and son. And then you had a clerk of the court literally talking to jurors while the case was going on. Now they got to do the case all over again. That's a waste of taxpayers' dollars, not this. We don't know what this case is going to yield just yet. But I promise you, I have enough people in the courtroom that will at least hold the people that are that are responsible for a fair trial accountable. And I appreciate that. He can't, and then someone said this, and I have to research this. You can't get the death penalty in Texas because at the time of the alleged crime, Mr. Anthony was a minor. So he was 17, I believe. That's Texas law, according to Andrew for Camp. Now, Andrew, you better be right here, Andrew, because I'm going to look for you if you're not. I'm right now. I'm giving you the opportunity to, give your commentary. But Anthony, if I find that you have given me misinformation, Anthony, we're going to talk later. Okay, so I'm going to read another comment, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to read another one until my guest pulls up. So, Ashley, I don't know what side of the coin you're on, but I have a clear impression that you are a pro Metcalf supporter. Okay. Waste of taxpayer dollars when the outcome is what most of us know how it's going to turn out. Now, Ashley, how do you know how this is going to turn out? How do you know how this is going to turn out? And tell me, why do you feel it's going to turn out against Mr. Anthony or for Mr. Anthony? I don't know where your position is. I would love for you to share your thought pattern with the world. And if you like to come up during the show to share that, come out and speak up. I'll allow you to do that. Now, Trevor, you will not get no shine over here, Trevor. And don't get yourself blocked, Trevor. Don't do that. If you could come up here and talk intelligently, then I will give you the ability to share your opinion, but don't get disrespectful because you sound like a fool right now. Next. So Amy is saying, which is contradictory to what my last commenter said, you're an adult at 17 in Texas. So I didn't believe that the age was the only parameter that is necessary to give someone the not to give someone the death penalty, but this wasn't a case where it was premeditation. In order for us to understand, and I'm going to have someone that is very versed in the law, former prosecutor, and we're going to talk about why this case is not being prosecuted. Hold on a second, guys. I just got a text. Hold on. Stand by. Okay. She's here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be joined by the incredible LawyerBae from the Public Opinion Court. She don't get a thumb. Well, here we go. Here we go, guys. We're going to bring her up. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, you looking bright and bushy tail. Okay, so we're gonna get right into it because I know you gotta get inside the courtroom. First of all, thank you for joining the show today. You practice in Texas, you know Texas law. One of the questions that a statement someone just made is about why Mr. Anthony is not facing the death penalty. Can you more explain to to our audience why Mr. Anthony is not facing the death penalty in this case?
Yes, so the death penalty only applies to when there's an aggravated crime that has been committed. So let's say if he had committed an aggravated robbery, that kind of crime, it has to have an aggravating factor in order for it to rise to the level of a capital murder. And capital murders is what leads to the possibility of a death penalty case. So because it's not an aggravated factor, underlying factor, there is no capital murder, which means there is no death penalty. Okay.
So age is not the reason why he's not. That's not even a factor in. Okay. And that's why I said that if he's saying that this is he was trying to defend himself. And before I go into that, tell the people what do you know about this case and why is there such a stringent lockdown with access by the media?
Because these people been out here acting a damn fool. So as soon as this case happened, it had a lot of racial undertones. You have to also remember that we just had to get this wacko back in office. So now these people are feeling themselves and feeling superior. So when you have a case where there's an African American who is defending themselves and a white male loses his life, all hell has broken loose. And it doesn't help that you have individuals who call themselves or purports to be journalists putting out false, very inflammatory information to inflame their base. And I would say from the inception, the Caucasians have inflated this to a point of no return. So with all of that, we had the judge getting doxxed and getting threatened. We had Karmelo Anthony's family getting doxxed and people coming to SWAT and having to move and having to do all of these things to where it had to happen that this court had to say, in order for us to have a fair trial for Karmelo Anthony and justice to be served in whatever capacity that the jury determines, we have to put this case on lockdown, because if we don't, we're going to have these individuals running a mockery of the justice system.
Okay, so this is not the first murder case in Texas where involved self-defense claim. And this is not the first case involving black defendant, white victim, white defendant, black victim. This is not the first. This, for me, it seems excessive in that there are millions of people that want to get the information. And you, as a former prosecutor, are you someone that is a proponent of shielding the media from the courtroom, or are you with most people on my side who thinks that this courtroom should be consistent with most courtrooms with public access.
I think when we get to a point, I think there's a balance. In the reality of things, this is a public courtroom, which means that the public should have access to everything. When we get to a point where we have individuals like the Proud Boys coming and having rallies and really trying to inundate themselves to sway the outcome, and then we have a jury that is going to be picked, and we have to make sure that there's a fair process, and no one has the ability to be swayed by what is going to be put into the system or uploaded. So I think because of how this case has been inflamed, and I would say it's not been inflamed by the side of the defense, because the defense is the one that has to stay quiet in order for them to have a proper defense.
Okay.
Because of that, I think that this was the best outcome, was to put everything on lockdown.
Okay, so now today is Voir Dire, jury selection. You've been a part of many Voir Dires, jury selection. What would be the best juror selection, and what would be some of the questions you would expect? I don't know if you can talk. Well, I guess you can. I don't know if you can talk about this. Okay, what would be some of the questions that should be posed or would be a part of this questionnaire that these jurors are going to fill out in order for the best juror selection to be picked for Mr. Anthony?
One, I want to make sure one of the best outcomes is if minorities don't decide that they're not coming to participate in this jury selection service. So that's one of the best outcomes, is to make sure that the community looks like what the individuals who are being subjected to the criminal justice system looks like. It's a fair opportunity for minorities to participate, and they show up and participate. The type of questions that I would ask, and this is something that they probably, when you have this kind of case, you do a questionnaire, and the questionnaire has to be approved by the judge. Because of the state that we're in, I'm putting a question on there. What is your political affiliation? Are you Republican or are you Democrat? Because that is going to tell you how these individuals may or may not assess this case. Because they have inflamed it and the Proud Boys showed up, it is a very relevant question to ask these individuals. Because if you don't, you're going to end up with someone that is not going to be fair and impartial. Another question I want to ask, has anyone ever had to defend themselves against someone's force against them? How did you respond? What was your response? Were you in fight or flight? Were you in fear of your life? Do you believe an individual has the right to defend themselves against someone who initiated the assault?
Okay, hold that thought right
Those are
there.
just basic questions.
Okay, so you just touched on something. Is this a case where Mr. Anthony is saying that he felt his life was being threatened, and this is why he took the action?
Absolutely.
Can you speak to that? Okay.
Absolutely. This is a case, from the inception, this has been a case of self-defense. So when you look at it from the totality of the circumstances, this individual, the individual who deceased, is the one that was the aggressor. Also, I think he's probably about 100 pounds heavier than Karmelo Anthony. So what the law looks at the total composition of the makeup of the individual as well, because equal force is not equal if a person is 100 pounds heavier than you.
Okay. All right. And we, while we don't know what witnesses will testify, will Mr. Anthony have to take the witness stand, in your opinion? Can you speak to that? Because I know.
Yeah. So there's a twofold. Yes. There's a twofold. The burden is on the state. the burden never shifts from the state to the defense. Even in self-defense, the state has to put on evidence for the defense to have to put on a self-defense claim. The defense does not necessarily have to testify. The state has to refute self-defense, which then the defense has to come in, and at that moment, Karmelo does have to testify. There have been plenty cases where eyewitnesses can prove self-defense for you. And that leaves the defendant to never have to testify.
We're talking about a murder one today. Why wasn't there a lesser included offense added to this indictment? And is there an opportunity down the road where that can be a possibility?
It wasn't added because he's Black. Let's just call it what it is. We're in Collin County. Collin County is one of the most white out counties. If you get arrested in Collin County or Denton County, good fucking luck. And you are Black or minority, yeah. Down the line, yes, but they have to put on evidence of the lesser included. If they do not put on evidence of the lesser included, they do not get to have the lesser included in the charge.
Okay, so that's a strategy now. I hear strategy coming that could be part of the state strategy because this sounds like right now an all or nothing fight, unless the state decides they want to put evidence that could also give the jurors an opportunity to consider a lesser included offense. Now, the question for the defense is, at this point, they got an indictment. They have an indictment they have to fight. Is it almost giving the prosecution a second bite at the apple to try to get something else in? Because now, listen, you just said you ready to throw the book at this guy, but now as you see that you hear testimony, now it does seem like this guy may have a defense. Now you want to give the jurors the opportunity to consider maybe man one, man two, maybe, like, I don't know if they have aggravated assault, because the case before you got on, I referenced the case where Mr. Vincent Hardiman in Georgia had a defense of self-defense. He was found not guilty of murder, but found guilty of aggravated assault and possession of a weapon. In this case,
they have to put that on. They have to put it on.
Okay, they have to put that on.
The understanding is the burden never leaves the state. It never shifts, even with a self-defense claim.
Okay.
They are required to meet each and every element beyond a reasonable doubt. They get to pick their poison of how they indict. If they indict wrong, that's their fucking problem.
Okay. Now, charging the juror, and we're not there yet. I'm sure I'm gonna get you back on. But charging the juror, the judge has the duty to charge the juror based on what was presented during the trial. What do you expect? I guess I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Opening arguments will start on Thursday. How significant for you as a former prosecutor to make a great, what does a great opening look like for you as a former prosecutor, not from the defense?
Truthful. As a former prosecutor, a great opening is being honest about the character of your victim. Do not make your victim look like an innocent individual when you know there are skeletons in your victim's closet. The moment you try to present a perfect victim, because there is no perfect victim. Every victim is imperfect. The moment you decide to make them perfect is the moment you're going to lose a jury, because once those skeletons start opening up, you have lost them, because they don't believe you, and you have lost the credibility with them. That is a great opening. A great prosecutor is going to lay out all the skeletons so that the defense can't come up and say, oh, they ain't tell you this. No, you want to be able to tell them everything so that they can build their trust with you. Because the moment they hear something bad, it's lights out for you.
What you think from the defense's perspective? What would you? I guess from from either side, do you think that this person, and I don't know Mr. Metcalf, I don't know what his social media history is. I don't know. I know that from the reporting that he was an honor student as well and an athlete. Now, if there's history of him having racial animus towards people of color, how significant is that for a prosecutor?
You always want to evaluate your case as if, I don't want to say you're going to lose, but you always want to evaluate your case as if something bad can happen and how can you recover. Mm-hmm. The fact that they know or should know the history of their victim, they also should know that the only characters that is going to be up for discussion from the inception is the victim. That comes in. The defense, you can't come in, and only way the defense character comes into question is if the defendant testifies or someone get up there and say that he's a nonviolent person, but they got something that refutes that. Mm-hmm. But from the inception, the victim character is on trial.
Absolutely.
And is admissible.
Absolutely. And you just pointed out something. You know, that's one of the risks of a defendant getting on the stand. Is there anything in his past that the prosecutors can use to refute his claim of self-defense? Does he have a violent past? Has he had trouble with school? His school records will come out. Clearly, his social media posts will come out. As well as the victim's past will come out as well. And those who he hang out with. Well, let me say this. The company he keeps is significant as well, correct? Like if he had bad company in the past and there's someone, a surprise witness may come out and say, hey, listen, he didn't like black people and he wasn't, shy about saying that. Or he didn't like white people, he wasn't shy about saying that. How important is that type of testimony?
It's very important.
Okay.
One, even from when this case first happened and I was reporting on it, I had parents in my DM telling me how the victim was using racial slurs and was trying to attack young girls.
When you say
that is very significant, like trying to fight them.
Okay.
And again, it was reported with the school.
Okay.
It was reported with the school, and it's on school, and it's in the school's file. So things like that is very important because it shows a propensity to have an anger problem and not knowing how to de-escalate and how to aggravate and escalate a situation.
Okay.
Because this situation can lead to the totality of what happened. Cooler heads will always prevail. And that's what the defense gets to attack.
Okay. And lastly, I know you have to get in the courtroom. When you hear people say this case is not about race, what do you say to those people?
Bullshit. Bullshit. Karmelo Anthony is probably one of the, on paper, the perfect defendant.
What's that mean?
Is a straight, when I'm talking about when you're looking at a person's history, he's a child at the time. So you don't get to go and say, oh, he has 20 years of being X, Y, and Z. He was 17 years old at the time. Straight A student. I think he graduated with a 4.0.
That's a valedictorian. And
on top of that, he was an athlete. He worked. On top of that, he saved a young boy's life from drowning in Baton Rouge.
Okay, I heard.
This was a model kid.
Right.
So when you look at it on paper, this is not an individual you would see in a courtroom. You will see him in college right now,
Right.
continuing his education.
Okay. Someone said 3.7. I don't know if that's true or not. Someone said 3.7. Well, 3.7 is, at least magna cum laude. That's still pretty high.
Tomato.
Okay, listen. At the end of the day, we just want a fair trial, a fair outcome.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you being inside the courtroom, as others are going to be inside that courtroom taking copious notes. You're going to have your laptop with you, don't you?
We'll see.
We'll see. Well, okay, we'll see. We'll see. You have a pen and paper with you, right?
I will definitely have a pen and paper, and I know how to scan them notes in to get them out quickly.
Okay. That's it. That's what we're talking about. Do you any final words? The
only thing that I will leave the public with is allow the criminal justice system to have its day. We were not there. You do not get to dictate what a juror is going to determine. We are in the middle of public opinion. That doesn't count. When a jury takes this case to the back and look at the evidence and holds the state to their burden, the state should always be held to their burden. And if they do not meet their burden, then that means that the person that they accuse should be found not guilty, despite how anyone feels. So if the state loses this case, that's because they did not prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay, I don't know if I asked you this. I know I said final question. Do you think that what type of jury should be picked? A young juror? Like what would you look for in a jury? Like what, I've covered trials, and it all depends on the type of case it is, and what should and ideal. Sometimes we say an all black jury is not always the best jury either. We are more hard on ourselves.
More critical. Yeah.
We are right. So, some would argue, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would say that the makeup of a jury, one, you can't discriminate on race, gender, and age. So you can't go in and say, oh, I don't want these old people on this jury because they just go. No, you literally have to move that out of your mind, even though they use that, and that's why we have Batson.
People don't understand what Batson challenge is. Explain Batson challenge.
Batson challenge is when one side feels that the other side has discriminated or used race, gender, and age to have certain people removed from a jury. So that's why taking notes is important. But when you look at the makeup, my whole thing is I don't like lawyers on my jury. I don't like doctors. No. Engineers, hell no.
What about law enforcement?
Anyone that
What about law enforcement on your jury?
Oh, that would never. No,
right. Okay.
That would never.
Okay.
But when I would want to. I always had. If I could get a nurse on my jury, absolutely. If it's going to prove injuries, yes, depending on certain cases like assault cases. But you want a reasonable makeup of average individuals who you ask the right questions and you get the answers that are going to make you feel confident to know that these people can follow the law, because that's the main thing. Can you follow the law? If you cannot follow the law, you do not get to sit on this jury, regardless of age, race, and gender.
Well, you know something, we're going to have more to talk about this jury process. While we can't discuss any identifying details of any juror, we would like to get at least an overview of some of the general responses. And you have the ability to read body language, how people answer questions, how people will lie to get on jurors, because I've seen it. And I want to share a story. I know you got to go, but I was covering a case of a civil case involving rapper Da Brat, where there was a juror. We didn't learn this until while the trial was going on. He was an illegal alien. He lied to get on the jury, and it came out during the trial that he was lying, and they arrested him right there. The juror got arrested right there. And I have the video. It's on TMZ, by the way. So it was one of the times where I saw a jury literally get arrested sitting there lying. I'm like, dude, if you're trying to, the best way to hide from ICE is to be a juror, right? but LawyerBae, thank you. People can follow you on the Public Opinion Court on all social media platforms, and I look forward to your recap of the this process. You got to get in there because we're I think it started already. I appreciate you, and as always, you look great, and see you soon.
All right, y'all have a good one.
All right. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, I know there were a lot of comments coming in. I didn't. Someone was very colorful, no pun intended. But I get it. People having an opinion. I'm going to listen. If you want to get on the platform and discuss your thoughts on this case, no, don't get ridiculous. I'm going to do something different. I typically don't bring people on my show, but I'm gonna first of all, if you want to get on the show to discuss this topic, put a 1 in the chat. But if you come on and do something ridiculous, you're just going to get blocked. But if you want to join the conversation, you put a 1 in the chat, and I'll drop the link for you to come up. But I want people on here that can give it a balanced opinion. And I've seen people say, this is not about race. This is what does Republican and Democrat have to do anything? And that's a good question. That's a legitimate question. What does Republican and Democrat political views have to do with this? That's a great question. And I would like to at least have a discussion about that too. Is politics going to play in this? I don't know. This is a tricky situation. I'm going to drop the link. You got to cam up. You got to be on camera. Don't be a punk now. You got opinion. Don't be a punk. Get up on the camera now. Oh, don't be scared. Don't be scared now. Don't be scared. All right. I dropped the link here. You click on either link. Ashley, I see that you say you want to come up. Right. And let's debate without the politics. I would hate this to be a case of politics. First of all, these kids, most young people don't even think about politics. Well, I'll say most, I would say most young people don't really think about at that age. I don't think they really think about too much about politics unless a poli-science major or studying to be in government. But yeah, I don't care. You can be black, white, green, yellow, whatever. Doesn't matter. Come on up. Okay, I see. I'm gonna bring on Miss. How you doing? I'm trying. Okay, Miss Johnson.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Ignore the hair. I'm like at home cleaning and I'm rolling my hair and all that other stuff. But I came across your live.
You brought attention to your hair when you said ignore the hair. So now we're going to zoom into your hair. Go.
Yeah, it's locked up, but it's just curled up.
Okay. All right.
But I came across your channel. My tagline below is Redefine 7. Okay. And I came across the channel because I also have been covering this case since day one on my own channel. And I had a lot of smoke from a lot of people because I'm a Black woman. And so they felt that I should feel a certain way or be, for the people and leaning towards being on the side of one person or another. But just because I'm a Black woman doesn't mean that I do not think logically. And the logical thing of it is that, in my opinion, and I know you said this already, it has nothing to do with the race of a thing. And the unfortunate part of this situation is that there is a Black young man and a white young man. As soon as those two factors went into play, it turned into a race war instead of what is right right, what is wrong. Now, on both sides, in my opinion, I feel that wrong was done. But if we get down to where the rubber meets the road, the wrong of it is that Karmelo committed a crime. And that crime
alleged. Well, hold on. We have to
allegedly.
And I want to say this, so we people be clear. A crime is something that you have been adjudicated of doing. He's alleged to commit the crime. We don't know what the evidence is. Before I let you finish your thought, I'm gonna bring on Mr. I'm assuming you Eric, because you don't look like an Ashley with the great beard on your face. What's up, Eric?
Yeah.
How are you doing, Eric?
Oh, not too bad. About yourself?
I'm doing good. So, Eric, I know you have an opinion, and you were commenting. I thought this was Ashley all the time. Like, hey, what's going on? Talk to me.
Me and my wife, we have a joint YouTube account, but
okay. So, what's your thoughts on this case?
Well, we got to look at the very, very beginning. Okay, my thing is, we all know you're not supposed to have weapons on school property, correct?
Okay, I don't know what the rules are, but that may be
common sense. You're not supposed to have any kind of guns or knives on school property.
I would think so.
All right, everyone knows that. Okay, so my thing with that right there, if we all knows that, the lady you had on there before, she said that Karmelo, he's this smart, really good grades, stuff like that, straight A student. Well, someone that smart, common sense says they should know you're not supposed to bring a weapon on school property.
Well, let me ask you a question, Eric. If you had heard information that maybe somebody might have been in fear of possibly being harmed, we know this. You've been around, at least 18 years of your life. You know that there are people that actually have been the victim of bullying and or assault. And let me just say this, but we know that there are rules in place of school property. Do you think that if someone believed that they were walking into a situation where they could possibly be harmed, they should not have the right to defend themselves? Because that's a human right to defend.
Okay, well, all right. Football. They're both football players, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. Football, there's a lot of stuff that goes into football. You might not be that good. You might be really good. It's a contact game. It's physical. There's a lot of emotions that go with this sport. To bring a knife to something that you feel that you love to do, intentionally, like I ain't gonna say intentionally, but why bring a knife anyway to something that you have no right to bring a knife to? Why? It don't make no sense.
Eric, I would say this. I never had to carry a weapon. I'm a trained martial artist, so I didn't really need to carry a weapon. Now, there are people that carry weapons. There are people that carry guns. Now, you are right that if there's a restriction or a ban on weapons on a school, which it should be, because I don't want, first of all, when I see metal detectors in a school, I'm concerned about that. Because I never had metal detectors when I grew up, so I know the risk factor is higher now in this generation.
Okay, but I understand that, but see, I'm country where I live. Back in my day, they had shotguns in the back of their pickup trucks sitting in the school parking lot. And guess what? On break time, the teachers, they'd go out and they'd be saying, yeah, look at this gun I got for Christmas.
Okay, well,
that's the way it used to be. It used to be safe. You could do that. Let me say this, Eric. Where did we go wrong with kids that all of a sudden now they need to feel that they need to bring weapons to school and act out? Where did we go wrong?
Hey, that's a good question. I ain't gonna listen. I'm not gonna listen. That's a good question. Why do people feel the need to carry weapons? Also, if you have a shotgun in the back of your car, why do you have a shotgun in the back of your car? I know that was
fine. I don't know about you. I don't know where you live, but where I live,
no, I grew up.
I'm out in the country where, guess what? We eat deer, we eat bear, we eat all kinds of animals. It's our way of life.
Okay, and that's a good, a valid point. I grew up in the North. I grew up in New York City, so we're not carrying guns on back of anything. Maybe back in the trunk, or maybe but it's not like that. So you're from a different environment. You came from a part where you can hunt. We didn't hunt in New York City. We don't hunt in New York City. So
but this happened in Texas. Everyone knows what's Texas known for. Everyone carries a gun.
Okay, and that's true. That is true. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think, and I'm gonna get back to you, Ms. Johnson, do you think that this case is it has a racial overtone to it? Yes, or be honest. Do you think it has a racial overtone to the case?
How can I say this?
Honestly,
what makes you automatically go to race?
Nah, that wasn't my. See, you asking a question with a question. Answer my question, then I can answer your question.
All right. Well, what do we see here? Let's be honest. A young black kid stabbed a white kid.
You just answered my question because
I know. All right. With that being said, though, okay, what if the roles were reversed? What if it was a white kid that stabbed a black kid? Would you be asking the same questions that you're asking right now?
Well, the way you answer that question implies that you believe it's about race, because you could have said a young kid stabbed another young.
You could exactly said the same exact thing, but what did you ask me starting off? How did you say it? What were the first words? You said a black person and a white.
No,
you were the one that brought the race into it. You could have just said this person killed another person. And that's how we could be talking right now, but no.
No, Eric, the question was, I asked you, do you, Eric, believe this case is about race? I asked that question to you. And you could have said simply no and explain. Well, what you said, a black kid stabs a white kid. So
I can't answer this question because I don't know. It's how do you want to look at it? Do you want to look at it as a black person killing a white person, or do you want to look at it as one person killing another person? How do you want to look at it?
I see one person accused.
That's how I see it. One person killed another person. If you're the one that keeps mentioning black and white, why do you keep saying that? Why? Why don't you just say one person killed another person?
Because when you just explained when you responded to my question, you brought the color in there. I just asked you, was it about race? Did you feel it was about race? But let's move on. Let's move on. Don't go nowhere. I'll pose the same question to you, Ms. Johnson.
Absolutely. I think it should not be about race. I really, really do. Because I, like Eric, agree that it is one person committed a crime against another person. But when you introduce it into public opinion and social media, now they have turned it into the race war thing. And we can't ignore the fact that it very much is a black young man that committed a crime against a white young man. Now,
see, there you go. A young 17-year-old committed crime against alleged committed crime against another.
Alleged. I keep
alleged. Yeah, but you as well as Eric put the color classification there. I did
at first. My initial answer to the question is yes. I think it is a racial overtone with it, but I also piggybacked on that and said that it is a racial overtone only because the public has made it that way, and because we live in America where we're just going to call it as we see it. We live in a very racist country, and it's always been that way, and it's going to always continue to be that way until the end of time, right? We all know that if we're adults and we can be honest, whenever you have another race against another race, and primarily black against white, it's always going to be a racial question when it gets down to the rubber meets the road. It shouldn't be, but that's just what the generation that we live in, and that's just where we're at.
Okay, and I appreciate that, your response. Eric, do you plan on attending the trial at any point? Are you nearby? Are you in the town? Will you be an observer inside the courtroom?
Well, right now I was hoping that it would be on Court TV. I'm just doing what I can to find information. I was just going through YouTube videos and I found you doing a live segment, so I clicked on it and just wanted to hear what your thoughts were. So I'm just kind of winging it, going by what you hear, what I hear, and just going from there.
No, and I appreciate that. And make sure you hit that bell and follow, because I have people inside the courtroom. And we're gonna get. Hopefully, I'm giving balanced coverage in this, and I'm one of the channels that you are going to follow for this particular case. And we have some cool other videos there. So go to I don't know what channel you clicked on, because we have 2 channels live right now. But I appreciate you giving your point of view. For me, I just want to see a fair outcome in this case, unbiased. I want the balls and strikes are called properly by the presiding judge Roach, and that's what I want to see. And I think that if we can get a jury seated that understands the what their role is as jurors, then I think that we'll get the outcome that we should. And that's all. And I appreciate you coming up on, Eric, and Ms. Johnson. You have any final words?
I like you want to see a fair trial. I will be honest. Like when you were talking about the metal detectors, I'm from Washington, D.C. And so I grew up going through metal detectors. Like it was just the thing. We just knew it. We went through and we had to get pat down and things like that, because they just knew that kids could end up in being.
Yeah, it's different now. I didn't grow up like that. I didn't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Bringing a gun up.
It's unfortunate that this happened, that one adrenaline decision has affected the lives of 2 young people. One is not here anymore and one could possibly be facing prison time. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just bad choices that was made. Do I believe that he should have his whole entire life taken away for one moment, even though the moment was extreme? I don't. I do believe that your actions do have consequences and you have to pay for those consequences. And so I do believe that he should get a lengthy sentence if he is convicted, but I don't believe that his whole life should be gone, because what is that saying to rehabilitation as far as the way we're supposed to see it with the justice system?
Well, we're not at that point yet, because we're talking sentencing. We haven't heard the first piece of testimony yet. So let's just hold on.
I'm just speaking hypothetically, but yeah.
Okay. We don't want to go there just yet. Let's just see what the evidence is. I would agree that the force. I'm of the teaching force should meet force, the equal amount of force. If you're going to engage in any type of combat, if I bring knuckles to a fight, you don't bring a gun. If I bring a knife, you don't bring a gun. If I bring hands, you bring hands. So I don't know if this is a case where, for me, I would have to hear the evidence. What's the makeup? What was in his mind? Did he have a group of people? I don't know. It's so many different nuances. I need to hear the evidence. So with that, let's just hope for a very fair outcome. And different people handle things differently. And just like Eric said, he rode around with he has a gun back for hunting. But that hunting gun could be used for something else if the situation arises as well. I'm sure Eric's not just going to say, "Hey, no, I'm not going to. This guy's trying to rob me. But this gun is for a deer or for a bear." No. Eric going to pull that gun out and going to use it because now he might be outmatched. So I don't know. I'm just speaking for Eric. I can't speak for you, but I'm just thinking if you have it available, you might just use it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, thank you guys for coming up. I appreciate you, and let's keep the conversation going. See you guys on the next live. But for now, Eric, you have any final words?
No, I think I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you, Eric. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So Those are perspectives of at least two people that are watching the trial. A lot of comments coming in. Let me see. Oh, by the way, guys, take your phone out right now. Take your phone out. If you got a phone, point it to the screen. Scan that barcode and support the platform. You see that? You see that barcode in the upper left-hand corner? Scan that barcode right now and support the platform. Support the platform. Follow the page. Hold on a second here, guys. Let me see here. I see a lot of comments coming in here. Okay, what's someone say here? Let's see here. How can you say one should not get sentenced without? Right? Yeah. Well, you know how I feel about that. I'm like, wait a minute. We talking about sentencing. We didn't even hear we didn't hear opening arguments yet. Hold on a second. Yeah. Hold on a second. Then he said, hey, keep the brother Karmelo free. Okay. Well, that's up for the jury to decide. That's for the jury to decide. That's for the jury to decide. We ain't just freeing anybody and everybody, but we want to hear the evidence. Come on, let's be honest here. Let's hear the evidence. Let's hear the evidence. No, I'm not defaulting to any outcome right now. I'm not going to default. He should be free because he's doing it for. No, we're not doing that. We need to hear the evidence. Cut the crap. Cut the crap. All right, I'm gonna drop the link again. I need someone else to come on up here and listen. I'm gonna drop the link again. Let's see here. Here we go. Let's see that link right there. I'm gonna drop that link right there. Okay. So you can click on the link if you have anything to add to this conversation. I mean, evidence is important in trial. So I don't need to hear evidence. Yeah, he probably never been in the courtroom. Someone said those Metcalf boys were huge. Well, we know they play football. I mean, yeah, I don't know. See, I don't know what the height, and I'm going to find out soon enough what the height of Mr. Metcalf was. What was the weight? What was Karmelo's? Because they're both playing football. Apparently they both were football players. So I don't know position. But I'll be honest with you guys. I need to know why he was carrying a knife. And that's crucial for me. Why was he carrying a knife? I've never carried a weapon to school. So but I grew up in a different era. So why was he carrying a knife? That's all. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are joining in, the trial, thanks to the presiding judge in the case, he's not letting any cameras inside the courtroom. So we are going to get recaps during the break of those inside the courtroom. I have two people in the courtroom. We'll have a recap of what is taking place in the courtroom. The trial testimony is expected to start on Thursday, and we'll get an opportunity to hear from the people inside. And I should be on the ground by Friday. Because I'm covering the NBA Finals, ladies and gentlemen. So it's tricky here. It's tricky. All right, we got another person coming up, and that is Amuha. Okay, I don't know if you want to say your. I don't know if I want to say your name, but here you go. Hey,
Hello.
The train is coming. Don't miss that train.
I know. I'm going inside.
I'm like, wait a minute. You're not in New York, are you?
No, I'm actually about 20 minutes north of where the trial is taking place.
Oh, wow. Okay. So how are you today, first and foremost?
I am well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining the show. You got a train in the back of it. Listen, I grew up in the Bronx. We had in my project building I grew up in, we had a train track behind the building, so we knew this.
Yep, all day, every day.
What's your thoughts on it? We're talking about the trial of Karmelo Anthony. What is your thoughts and about what's about that take place? It's probably starting right now. Actually, it's happening now.
So, of course, everybody needs to see the evidence. I know when this very first happened that everybody came out of the woodworks. And it seems like nowadays everything turns into a race situation. And that is so unfortunate because it got lost in the fact that a young man lost his life needlessly. And I've read everything that you can imagine on this case, mainly because it was so close. And because the fact that I have children, I have 5 boys, and my youngest are, well, they're out of school now. But the fact that everything is made into race nowadays, it scares me for my kids' futures because my children are mixed and they're young men at that. And so we had set them down and had long conversations about this whole thing and the fact that it's not race related. It's not supposed to be about race. It's about the fact that one young man took the life of another young man. And then we need to see the evidence of everything that plays out. I've read different articles that says that Karmelo has previously gotten in trouble at school for having a knife. Now, allegedly, I don't know how true it is, but I have read actual articles that said that. I've also read that he's claiming self-defense. He admitted it immediately after it happened. But then he got rid of, he threw the knife. And so the bottom line is nobody knows everything until the evidence is portrayed during the court.
So let me
I would love to be in the courtroom, though.
Well, you're close, but let me ask you a question. You said a few things. So you have 5 boys.
Yes.
You've had this discussion.
Yes.
And, I don't know what the discussion was, but, I've had discussions with my children as well growing up. Now, what type of discussion do you have with your boys as relates to fights and conflict resolution and how to deal with others that you don't typically agree with? What type of conversations do you have with your children? Just curious.
Excuse me. So with my boys, they have always been taught that you find any other means before it has to get physical. Whether it's taking the high road and trying to talk to people, trying to understand where they're coming from and diffuse the situation. If it doesn't get diffused, you are not the one to start it. But at the same time, you don't back down either.
Okay, hold on. So you don't start it, but you don't start it, but you finish it.
Right, exactly. That's how I was raised.
Right.
Born and raised here in Texas, and if I had any situation like that and I didn't at least finish it, then I got in trouble when I got home. My daddy.
Well, I did too. Now, I can say a story you wouldn't believe, but
oh yeah,
I had a story where I grew up, and we had these little bullies in the neighborhood. So they would say weird stuff. When we were on basketball court, they would just talk crap and everything. And I always try to alleviate a situation, but this got to a point where this person wasn't backing down because he saw that I wasn't trying to engage him.
Right.
But he took it to a next level. And then, I said, I'm just going to just jog to my house because it was literally like 2 blocks away. He followed me. So my mother was looking out the window And she screamed out the window. She said, "Dennis, you better fight him right now." And suffice to say, I did. And then next thing I saw, he was out cold. So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that, but I did.
Right.
And because I didn't want to deal with her.
Exactly. But then when it's over and done with, you squash it, you stand up, you shake hands like men, and you let it go. And you move forward.
Yeah, it's funny. He and I became not bosom buddies, but we became friends because he saw that push over. But to your point, what if you learned during the testimony that Mr. Metcalf was the aggressor? What if you learned that?
Well, and I can see that because I know how track meets go here in Texas. Well, any kind of sports is like over craziness in Texas. And I can only speak for Texas, but the fact that he was the aggressor, I can see. So Karmelo went into the tent because it was raining. And I can see him being a big shot and trying to tell him, no, you can't be in here. You got to get out. The thing about it is, like you were saying earlier, if it was just hands, that would be one thing. But you cannot combat a situation with more force than what initiated it. You know what I mean? Like what you're saying. He can't, like, if Metcalf came at him and was wanting to fight him, then fight. Knuckle up and fight it out. But the fact that a knife was brought in is where the boundary was overstepping. So it was too far.
So let me ask you a question. You make a good point. Now, if there was a disparity in or disappoint, there was a evidence to show that Mr. Metcalf was twice the size of Mr. Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Would it then be justified for him to pull that knife out, or should he just fled at that point and just left? Because
I believe he should have fled.
That's the option.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
And the fact that he wasn't supposed to be there to begin with, and the articles that I read, I mean, he wasn't even in the track meet to begin with. Like Karmelo wasn't performing at the track meet at all. And he had actually skipped school that day. And the fact that he was under their tent, I can understand with Austin being twice the size of Karmelo, but at that point, I don't believe that the knife was justified because I don't believe that he was in fear for his life. If it was another situation where, say, Metcalf was just beating the tar out of him and he was afraid for his life.
Hold on. What color is tar?
Well, it's black, but that's just it's a saying.
Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Keep talking, ma'am. Keep talking. Go ahead.
It's just a saying.
Ma'am, I'm listening.
Okay, so let me put it this way. If Metcalf was beating the crap out of him,
okay.
Well, you could say that was brown too. I don't know. Anyway.
I'm just listening.
I know. But if Karmelo was afraid for his life, then I believe that the knife would be justified. But with the fact that there were several people in the tent,
you said several people. Were they with Metcalf or they were with Karmelo?
They were with Metcalf, but Karmelo also put himself in that situation by being in a tent that he wasn't supposed to be in. And I still don't believe that he was in fear for his life.
Well, you can't
justify the knife.
You can't say what you're not in that position. You don't know how that person felt.
Well, that's true. Right. That's true.
We can't second guess what he thought at that time. But
from what I've read, it was a simple, I think Metcalf, what I read was Metcalf pushed him and told him to get out of the tent. And then the next thing is Carmelo's putting his hand in his bag and he says, touch me and see what happens. And then comes out with a knife. So I don't think there was enough physical between them to justify fear for life with a knife.
Okay. And that's going to be the prosecution's contention to show that the force didn't equal the reaction.
Right.
So that I think that will probably be part of the case. I appreciate your comments. Things to think about.
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Make sure you follow
And
and support.
Oh, I already am.
Yeah, appreciate you. You gave me something to think about too. I don't think the tar, I heard the tar thing. People, I see the comments already. I'm like, wait a minute. Hey, what color's tar?
And seeing that, I mean, everything gets turned into race. It's a Southern saying, but it's all race related. And it's sad what the world has come to. It really is. And I really, really have to stay on my boys about being the bigger person and walking away and understanding ignorance a lot.
And people can contribute to ignorance, or
right.
they can be trying to avoid ignorance. So,
right.
How much are do you see this politics to play any factor in this at all? Politics.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because politics plays a factor in everything nowadays. Things that it doesn't even have any bearing whatsoever, and it still plays a role. And you get the leftist people and the extreme right, and they're on complete opposite sides, and it all comes back to race, basically.
I have a big question for you. I want
Absolutely.
you to think about it before you answer the question.
Okay.
Do you think President Donald J. Trump has set a tone for how, because the leader of the country, the leader, the president of the country sets the tone, whoever that is, of how people should treat each other. Do you think Donald J. Trump has contributed to this type of racial divide in America? And be honest now. Be honest. I'm looking in your eyes right now.
I believe that his intentions are different than what comes across.
I don't know what that means. You're going to break it down.
So I think that a lot of times his words get twisted because he has no filter. We all know that. He has no filter. But I don't think that he is, how do I put it? I don't think he is concerned as much as he should be with how he handles race issues and things like that, because of the way that he comes across. It is dividing the country more.
Let me ask you a question. Do you drive a car?
Yes.
Are you spending more now to drive your vehicle?
Absolutely.
Is the price of food going down in your community?
Oh, no. Everything has gone up. And it doesn't matter. I mean, we've gotten all kinds of promises of this and that happening, and it has yet to happen. It's the reverse. But it seems like...
Do you feel you've been lied to? Just be honest. Do you feel like the things that was said to, just take it back, roll back the tape and ask yourself the question, do you feel you've been lied to?
Yes. But at the same time, there are some things that I don't believe are in his control, but on other aspects, yes, wholeheartedly, he has made statements and had actions that have made things worse for the American people.
So starting a war, authorizing the war that was supposed to last one day, and we're probably 2 months in or better. You don't have a serious problem with that?
I have a serious problem with any war. I do.
Well,
I come from a military family, and anytime that someone takes a decision to put our American people's lives in danger is something that it's more than just a decision on the fly. I mean, there definitely needs to be where there's no other recourse other than that, and that the outcome is going to benefit us. And right now, it's putting unnecessary lives at stake on both sides.
All right, I don't want to go off course. I don't want to make this political. I just had a few questions. I kind of
No problem.
those are the test questions to see if you're a leftist or a righty. Are you let me ask you, are you MAGA?
No, I'm independent. I'm completely independent. I have no problem answering that question because I listen to their debates. I listen to everybody's political side, and I make my own decision.
Okay, that's good. I appreciate your commentary, and I appreciate the time that you spent to add to the conversation. And
thank you.
Ideally, this case will proceed in the normal fashion, but nothing I've seen yet has been normal in this case. If that makes sense.
That's very true. And I mean it's very sad that this is even an issue that we have to watch and play out, and it's just sad because in a sense both of those families' lives were changed forever.
That's a fact. With that, let's reconvene with you throughout this trial and lock in, turn your notification bell on, and maybe we can bring you back and we can talk about some of the evidence that come out. Because maybe whatever your position is, hearing some of the evidence may sway you to think a little differently.
Well, and that's why I'm so vested, is because I need to see the evidence, and I make up my own mind and I do it based on the evidence. I don't let anybody sway me one way or the other.
Thank you. I appreciate you very much, and I look forward. Amy Hudson. Amy. Okay, that's good. Okay, Amy. Appreciate you, and I'll see you back here on maybe our next live, depending on what I'm talking about. We talk NBA. Well, listen, hold on.
Okay.
So the Spurs are in the finals with my team, the New York Knicks. We about to kick your ass.
We'll see.
Thank you, Amy. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too now. Bye-bye. All right, guys. So you guys know I'm a Knicks fan. I was out the first game for the Eastern Conference Finals. And there were a lot of people out. I'm so excited about the Knicks. The Spurs. I know what people saying. I hear the chatter, but we ain't even talking about the Spurs. They who knows? They may catch an injury anyway. Let's see who else we got here. Okay, Knicks in 6. Listen. What if the Knicks sweep the Spurs? Oh my goodness. That's another conversation. Let's see here. Karmelo was supposed to be there. Okay. Be quiet. We ain't gonna have no Knicks disrespect over here. Shut up. Okay, guys, let's see here. It's the Rocks, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Rocks. I see you. It's the Rocks. I haven't seen you in a while, but thank you for keeping keeping the mods, keeping the comments appropriate. Spurs and 6. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, listen, guys. When you're typing in Karmelo, it's a K, not a C. Karmelo Anthony with a C is the former NBA player. Karmelo Anthony with the K is the person that is being charged with first-degree murder. First-degree murder. So be careful now. Be careful. Be careful. All right, let's see here. I'm going to drop the link in. I'm going to let maybe 2 other people come on, but until once I get a signal that we have an update, I'm going to bring that person in. I'm going to drop the link again if you want to add to the conversation. This has been a pretty, balanced conversation. Let's see here. I'm seeing if we get an update here. All right, I dropped the link there if you want to click on that link. Let's see here. Did I drop the link? I did drop the link. Click on the link if you want to come up. Meanwhile, let me see what comments we have here. Okay. If you want listen, there are a lot of comments coming in. If you want to have your comment highlighted, you know what you got to do. Hit that super. Let me put a banner there real quick here. Hold on. Let me drop a banner there. We've just been working, but we got to handle the business of what we do here as well. I'll put that there, as a matter of fact. There you go. There you go. All right, let's see here. I dropped the link if you want to come up. Let's see. Okay, a lot of comments coming in. They say, "What do you know about the facts?" We weren't there, so the facts. Only facts that we have is the prosecutor charged Karmelo Anthony with murder in the first degree. That's a fact. It's not a fact that he did it. We don't have. Well, it's a fact that he did it. Actually, that's a fact too. He did kill him, but was it a justified killing? That's the question that the jurors have to decide. The justification. Was there justification? That is a question the jurors have to decide. That's a fact. There's not been a defense to say that it was someone else. That's a fact. We're not going to play games here. But as far as statements like his school history, we don't know that's a fact. We don't know he was ever accused of bringing a knife to school. We don't know, certain things I don't know to be facts. These are people can write articles and imply things, but until the school records and or any reprimand that he may or may not have received, we don't know that until testimony starts. So, and some of this, I'll be honest, some of these things are done to poison the jury pools. They're said to poison the jury pool. So we don't know any of this stuff yet, but we'll find out what is being asked during voir dire of these jurors. And I like this comment. Hold on a second. Let's see here. So Grant Scott says, I just don't know what other evidence would come up. There's no video. And you know something, Grant, there's witness testimony. And here's the problem here for the defense. If all the witnesses are those of the Metcalfs, Mr. Metcalf, and Austin doesn't, and Anthony doesn't have any witnesses, we don't know who is going to testify. What type of text messages were sent out during, like right afterwards? What was said before? Because they're going to bring his cell records in. They're going to bring his social media in the case. They're going to bring all that in. And that's what the jurors are going to look at. So we don't know what was said before what was said afterwards. We're going to find out that. And then what these jurors are going to have to decide is what would they have done in a similar situation? How would they have handled it? Now, if I was in the room, and this is my opinion. If I was posed with a similar situation, first of all, I wouldn't have had a weapon, and it would have just had to been either a beat down or a beat up. If that makes sense. But I wouldn't have had a weapon on me. So I can understand how the family of the Metcalfs feel. Like I can truly understand. I can truly understand how the family of the Metcalfs feel. You know, no one wants to lose a loved one to violence. So I want to know what was said to this kid for him to feel he had to pull a knife out. Okay, let me get your comment off, Eric. Y'all wilding out in the comment section. I see some. Listen. Certain comments are never. No. Listen. Let's see here. Let me get Grant off of here. I've read one of the witnesses' statements on the police report, but we will see. Okay. Okay, someone said I'm for right and not wrong, but what is right and what is wrong? And I agree with that too. But where did the hurt come from? If you're cornered, if you're in the corner and you got a pack of wolves about to attack you, what are you going to do? I'm just saying. This is just an analogy here. If you're in a corner and you can't, nowhere you can go, you got to get out of there, and they all about to gang up on you, you got to push somebody back. This could have ended very badly for Karmelo Anthony as well. Did they surround him? Were they threatening him? What was the energy in that moment? What was the energy in that moment? Ladies and gentlemen, I have Mr. Donta Jackson. Talk to me, Donta.
What's up? How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
How you doing? Good.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So
where you at? I'm in North Carolina here. So where you at, sir?
I'm in New York City. Talk to me about this case. What's your thoughts on it, sir?
Yes, sir. I just want to make it clear. I'm a blogger and social media influencer myself. I just want to make it clear that, first of all, it's a terrible situation, terrible outcome. Don't condone no violence whatsoever. I've worked with youth before in different situations and encounters of bullying and social media and putting them together and just trying to have a better outcome on any situation.
Hold on a second. You got Santos Cruz. You got to turn your camera on, man. Turn your camera on. I'll bring you back up. Go ahead.
Okay. And I just believe in one big outcome of this whole situation is the self-defense topic. It's kind of hard to justify a person to tell them how to defend themselves. I'm not saying it's right in the situation of what he did. Like the young lady just came up earlier. She was like, well, if he just wanted a fist fight, let's do a fist fight. If you approach somebody aggressively or whatever the situation was, I don't know, I wasn't there, but whatever the situation was, when a person chooses to defend themselves or stop you from harming them, they go into a defective system of how to defend themselves. For example, because there's two ways to look at this story. The young man saw the guy up on the tent. He felt like he wasn't supposed to be there. He felt like you won't in the right selection or whatever. Okay, the first thing I would have probably told my son was get administration, get authority. Whenever you take matters in your own hand or something now, especially with this generation, it's always a bad outcome. If I'm walking into a bank and I know a guy's in there robbing a bank, I'm not going to go in there and try to stop him. I'm going to stay outside, contact authorities. I'm not going to in that type of situation. So what I'm trying to say is when he approached a young man and it did escalate to an altercation or him putting his hands on another guy and he chose to grab a weapon, it's like, I just feel like it's whatever escalates from there, escalates from there. Like you can't punch somebody in the face. I'm not saying he did. I don't know. We don't know that. But if I go to Walmart right now and punch a man in the face and he chooses to pull a pocket knife out of his pocket and stab me, then that's the consequences I took of approaching somebody and put my hands on somebody or being aggressive or whatever. I just don't think there's a thing to just fight or handle it this way or handle that way, because a lot of people is going to handle things different. They're going to take stuff different. They're going to take stuff in their own hands. If you break in somebody's house in the middle of the night and the guy is sleeping beside his gun, his first thing to do is probably grab his gun. He's not going to be like, well, if you're in my house, get out or we're going to fight. You know what I'm saying? He's going to pow, 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 pow. You know, it's like, so I just feel like, have you escalate stuff? The de-escalation of it is consequences.
Well, you touched on a few things. And I think people are asking the question, was that tent exclusive to Mr. Metcalf and his people? That's the first question. And the other question I have is, if Mr. Anthony was not authorized or had permission to be there at that time, how did it escalate? And my last question is, was this a case of a pack of people about to gang up on him, and that was his only way to get out of that situation? Did it get to that point? Because if you're cornered and you know the next move is going to be a flurry of punches on you, so you got to think about this. What's in his heart and his mind and his spirit at that time? Did he feel like these people were going to kill him? So you got to think about that, because we're not there. Did he feel like these people were going to kill him at that moment? Did he see?
That's the defense mechanism. That's what I'm saying. Like, if two guys walk up to me and I can defend myself, but if, like I said, if you have a weapon on you, the first thing in mentality is use that first. Yes, we can fight. Yes, we can square up. But two people, the guys are pretty good sizes. I'm just saying, and size don't really mean anything either. But when you have that weapon, you feel more confident, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, I won't walk down a neighborhood where there's a bunch of dogs with nothing in my hand, but I will walk down a neighborhood with a bunch of dogs if I had pepper spray or a gun or a knife or a weapon. So I just feel like the way it escalated, the de-escalation of it was a terrible outcome. Because I'm not.
Yeah. Again, I would love to believe that, this guy was taught not to use a weapon or carry a weapon, but again, the fact that he had a weapon at a place where he shouldn't have been, or allegedly shouldn't have been, I have an issue with that. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
You good, sir. I'm gonna make something very clear and understanding. Would we still be having this conversation right now if he did not have a knife? What if it was a regular fist fight and the boy was thrown off the bleachers and broke his neck?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Is this subject a big issue because he had a knife?
Well, the knife,
hand-to-hand combat could have left somebody injured too.
The knife gave it a finality to Mr. Metcalf. So you can't come back from a death, and that's the thing. You can't come back from a death. And was this? He didn't. And the other thing is intent. Did he have the intent to kill or to harm? And that's, this wasn't clearly premeditated. The aggravating circumstances resulted in the death of Mr. Metcalf. So again, we weren't there. It clearly wasn't premeditated. He didn't. I don't believe that he went there to say, I'm going to kill me at football, my competitor. Or I don't think that was even a conversation. I think that he went there and he was challenged for being there. And in that spot, he was challenged. And rather than just walk away, Did they say he couldn't walk away? Because he could have just simply walked away. He could have walked away. It's not. Let me say this. I'm going. A bad run, a good run is better than a bad stand. If that makes sense. A good run is better than a bad stand. This wasn't a good run. This was a bad stand because someone died. Go ahead, sir.
I just feel like another thing too. We ain't seen a lot of, maybe they saving it for court or the documents. I haven't seen a lot of the administration come forward and be like, where's the administration at? Did he have permission to be there? Because a lot of people say he ain't supposed to be there. It wasn't his move.
We don't know that, and that's going to be that's going to be out in the trial. We don't know that yet. So a lot of stuff right now, because of the blackout for releasing of the documents, all the documents are sealed in the case. We don't know what the pre-trial motion filings were. We don't know what kind of exclusionary evidence that was argued. We don't know if there was. We know nothing. This is one of the cases I've covered that I had no pre-knowledge of the things leading up to the trial. In the Diddy case, I was able to look at all the court filings leading up to it. I had access to a lot of information. In most cases, this is not that case. And and this may be something that will be argued later on if the case comes out to be unconstitutional in the way the judges make his rulings. We don't know this. Lawyers can't even chime in on the filings because we don't have access to it. We'll soon have access to it, but right now we don't have it. So with that, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
It's just like children, when they do something. I'm 44 years old, but like children, they do something. They say, "Well, it starts at home." Well, when you hear stuff like this happen at school, it's like, where's the administration? Where's the principal? Where's the teacher? Even if it's after school program, anything, there still be administration need to be there. And I just feel like, even a truancy officer, anything, I just feel like that it was, like I said, I'm really on nobody's side on this because I think it's terrible. But the same way, I feel like that, but because I'm a type person, first of all, me, myself, I mind my business. If I'm going into a store and the guy comes in and goes, "Well, don't go in there, I'm about to rob it," I'll say, "Hey, brother, hey, go ahead, do your thing, man. I'm not gonna stop you. I'm not gonna. I may tell you not to or something like that. No, I'm not getting involved.
I listened to you. You said you're gonna take your ass outside the bank and call the police. So what are you gonna do in this case? You're still gonna call. You're still gonna do that.
I'm still gonna call. But listen, I'm gonna call the authority. I'm not gonna take it myself and go, you know what? If you go in there bank and rob it, I'm gonna come in there and save the day. Then he looks at me and go, "Well, if you do that, if you try to stop me, I'm gonna shoot you." So you got to be smart about this. I just think that, like I said, that day when the young man saw the guy in that situation, he should have first went to administration. It's always a bad thing trying to put stuff in your own hands. Hold
on 1 second. Santos, what's up with your camera, man? Don't listen. Santos, stop playing. Santos, what's up with your camera, man? Jay, is that Jay? Okay, I see Jay. Hey, Jay.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you.
Hello, thank you for having me. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I was about to tell you, don't turn towards your lights because your lights are.
Yeah, I'm getting in a better position. Hopefully, this is a little bit better for you.
That's better.
Perfect.
So, good afternoon. What do you have to add to the conversation?
I don't know if I need. I don't know if I want to add to the. Well, I do want to add to the conversation. I just don't know what to add to the conversation. So maybe if you want to ask me anything.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So you clicked on that link because you have some thoughts. What are your thoughts about the case?
No problem. So I would say, I know I've been watching the other guests that you've had on your show, and I've been listening to the questions and everything. And one of the things that I've seen that kind of dominates the conversation is this racially fueled? And should it be racially fueled? Or, and the quick answer to that is this racially fueled? Yes, 1000% racially fueled. Should it be racially fueled? Absolutely not. Because, we all have the freedom here in this wonderful country of ours that, you have the ability to go and have that trial, have your day in court, right? So I think until we understand all the evidence, where, once it's shown in the trial of the evidence, and the jury and the people come up with their own perspective on all the evidence and all the witness testimony, then I think people can make their own assumptions to that. Because you and I know that right now there's so much information out there that you can research, you can read articles, but at the same time, whenever you do read those articles, you don't know what's true or not. So I think what can help people to feel unbiased and to stay kind of neutral is to kind of flush that all away and just wait for the trial to start. Which I think you were saying it starts on Thursday. For some reason, I thought it was today, but
today is jury selection. Today is just picking up the jury. Voir Dire, I don't know how many jurors. We'll find out during the break when they come out. And here's the other thing people should realize is this judge has some of the strictest guidelines for even the movement in the courtroom and leaving. If you walk out, for example, and this hasn't been amended yet, but my last communication with the court is if you walk out during this process, they will not let you back in until there's a break. So if you have bad bladder or whatever the case is, you're just
hopefully you don't.
Again, people they got to take medicine. It's different variables here, but you won't have the opportunity to walk out. With that said, trial is slated for Thursday. Testimony should begin. So what we have today and Wednesday, because I've heard talks they may not be court tomorrow, which is weird because we are now trial in the trial of Karmelo Anthony. My question to you:
Yep.
You said 1,000% racially charged. This is racially charged.
Yes.
Have you heard through? I'm sure you have because you're on social media. Why are you from Texas?
Yeah, I am. Mm-hmm.
You're from Texas.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts about what the official charge has been and whether or not you believe that there's a possibility of justification in the death of Austin Metcalf and or the guilt or innocence of Mr. Anthony?
See, and that's kind of tough to answer. And again, it's because of all the information that's out there that could be accurate or it could not be accurate. So it's very hard to gauge and give my perspective on who I think is the aggressor and who I think is not the aggressor, right?
That was actually a test. That was a test. I wanted to make sure you didn't have a preconceived opinion already. So that was a test. You passed it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. No problem. But yeah, I would say once the evidence comes in and we all see it, I think it'll be a little bit more clear to make a little bit more better, educated guess, right? But then again, it won't be an educated guess. It'll be factual by the time.
Would you want to sit on that jury?
Say that one more time.
Would you want to sit on the jury if called?
If I was called as a jury, I would do it. However, would I want to keep my information confidential? Yes, I would. Yeah.
If they call you at this point, you are actually not going to get picked because you're giving commentary, so they won't call you now. So
right, and I understand that. Yeah. So it's actually for everybody that's on any sort of live news or you answer questions, because years later from now, right, they can look at this information and they can exclude you from jury selection and from other things that that you may want to be later on in your career. So just food for thought.
I would say that from my experience, when people give commentary on a particular case, and I've seen this in the case involving George Zimmerman. I covered that trial, and I've seen this in the case involving the murder of Joy Dolliston, who was a DeKalb County sheriff, a Gwinnett County sheriff, who was killed by her son. And there was there were people on social media making comments, and they ended up on the jury. And I saw they was called out later on. So I'm just saying, in this instance, you're probably not going to get picked. So just.
And that's okay. I'm quite okay with that.
Okay. Any final words, sir?
No, I don't think so. No.
Well, thank you. Do me a favor before you leave. Hit that notification bell and make sure you're following.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate you.
Yep.
Okay, I don't forgot you. Wait. Don't judge me, man. You was hitting up in the corner, man.
Hey, I'm learning, man. I see what you're doing. I'm learning from you. I just found your page today. Actually, I followed you and I got your notifications. You read across my timeline because probably the story. Everybody's covering it. So yeah,
absolutely. So tell everybody what you do as a content creator, because I see some interesting art in the background. What do you do as a content creator, sir?
Well, I kind of cover stories. I'm trying to actually build my fan base. Really, I cover stories like this and topics, but I kind of start off slow, like coming on obviously bigger platforms and just giving my insight on things. Because, like I said, I'm the same way I'm forcing an opinion. I'm learning too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. But I'm a content creator, social media influencer, and I currently do work on Twitch. I stream on Twitch and TikTok too. Just the little things, and like I said, a little bit of politics, not much. A little sprinkle, not much. But I basically cover all areas of things. But this case right here, I've been following since it happened. Like I said, it's very tragic, and I'm just trying to get insights on it too, and what other bloggers and social media people has to say about it, so I can just learn more. Because I'm like everybody else. It's just a color thing, or he was just a thug and all that stuff. It's like, no, they both had great credentials. Do
you have children? Do you have children?
Yes, I have 3 kids. 2 daughters and a son.
Do you have boys?
Yes, sir. I got a 20-year-old.
Okay. What kind of conversations do you have with your boys? Do you live in Texas? No, you don't. No, you're in Carolina.
But I did live in Florida for 25 years.
Okay. Florida's interesting. Different.
And my children are interracial as well. So just like the other lady that was up here having a conversation about that, you hate to touch on subjects like that because you just want to be all as one. You don't want to be black and white boy and black boy. You hate always significating like topics of a crime. I don't feel like a crime has a culture or a color. Anybody can be a bad person. Same thing in politics. Anybody can be a bad person. It don't matter this side, that side, left, right. Anybody can be a bad person. Crime comes in all shapes, sizes, forms, country, backyard, city, state, river, mountain, valley. It doesn't matter. It goes down. But the thing I always told my son was just always be smart, know your surroundings, treat people with respect. And, my kids ain't troublemakers. My 2 current kids are in school, hopefully going to go and finish college. They're athletes. My son is a construction worker. And I just feel like that I've always just told him to like my father raised me, just stay forward, mind your business, stay tuned in to yourself, focus on yourself, achieve your goals, and people around you. They got to be with you or they're not. Like your circle is your main thing. Your circle, who you keep around you is very important, and who you keep in your presence.
All right, I'm gonna keep you up. Dante, I'm gonna keep you up here.
Sure, bro. I'm good. I'm learning.
Well, what's happening? Don't drink too much of that water now.
Hey, you got to stay hydrated.
I need some right now, as a matter of fact. Hold on. Go ahead.
Me too, Ray. Cheers.
Go ahead, Will. So what's your thoughts on this case, and have you formed an opinion one way or the other?
I've formed an opinion, but the opinion I formed is not one that a lot of people like, which, by the way, let me be graciously hospitable. Salute to you, Mr. Dennis Byron. Appreciate you for having me up here. Salute to the brother Dante Jackson. Hello to everyone in the chat. My name is Will. I'm on the Say Life podcast. But yes, I formed an opinion on this case. A lot of people didn't like it because I told everybody to be quiet and don't formulate one just yet. I have a history of covering these cases and actually being involved in a few trials myself. And I always tell people, wait until you get all the facts before you draw a conclusion, and do not let the news or racial disparities or any type of political affiliations try to draw you to a conclusion that does not have all of the evidence. So in this particular case, I hate the way that it was really covered, and I hate the way that it was really brought to the fruition, because the first thing that came out was this is a racially driven case, and I'm just like, why did we have to go there? And once you incite that this case is based on race, that's when I knew that it was going to be a bad storm of just nonstop misinformation or misrepresentation from both sides, however you look at it, whether you're a supporter of Karmelo or a supporter of Austin Metcalf.
I would agree. This is a highly charged case, racial case, in that it's not, when I say racial case, you have a black guy who, and it's the thing we can't ignore. He's out on a bond on a murder one. Think about that for a second. And I know it's people of color that rarely happens on a murder one. You're fighting that case from behind the wall, as a detainee. This case is, is an anomaly in that this judge saw something that gave her the gumption to order him free with a $250,000 bond. She took the flag behind it, but now guess what? He's now able to fight the case. And I'm gonna tell you something. If you're fighting a case, you best want to fight it from the street than from inside, because now you can work freely with your attorney without all the, I don't know, he might have had to been, well, I know lawyers can see their client, but I don't know what type of in-person contact they would have really had in Texas. But with that said, this case, we're actually seeing something that really rarely happens, that a black man, a young man, is fighting his case from the street, being charged with murder one. Don't let that miss you. This is a murder one case. They didn't charge him with multiple counts of, manslaughter. This is they're going for the whole boat. They want to get him convicted of a murder one, and he's free. And that's what people don't understand. He's free, but he has conditions now. He's not just walking the street. He has an ankle monitor. He can't leave. The judge is very clear on what he cannot do. But so in that sense, people are believing that he shouldn't have those benefits that people that don't look like him typically have. Would you agree?
Well, I say one that I agree with you, is extremely rare. But I understand, and this is something I've always argued with people for years, that when it comes to court, it's not about right or wrong, it's about what you argue. Now, whatever arguments was made to justify why it is that judge let him out on that bond and let him be at home, it was definitely rare to me. For people who don't look like him, it's a myriad of examples where people can say, well, hey, this person was let out. But the thing was, even about the murder one charge, I think they only charge that high because they don't think it's going to stick. That's just me personally. I think the better charge would have been manslaughter, but we understand that when it comes down to a case like this, they got to charge as high as possible. And then if that doesn't stick, they can get charged downwards.
Now, I agree with you. Manslaughter, it will be a closer, more stronger way for the jury to consider the case a manslaughter, because now you're now there are elements that exist in this murder one that clearly wouldn't exist in a manslaughter. So I had attorney LawyerBae on, and I asked a similar question. I don't know if you were able to see that part, but depending upon what is testified to, the judge has the responsibility to charge the jurors appropriately, and the prosecution may want that to be part of the charging of the jurors, that maybe you can consider a lesser included offense, because right now when you need 12 people to disagree on murder one. If you get 11 people, he's acquitted. So you need 12 people to unanimously agree on the outcome, guilty or not guilty.
Excuse me. Here's the thing I didn't understand. If he argued at the beginning self-defense, why is it automatically a murder charge?
Well, he can argue anything he wants, but the prosecution has the right to charge what they want to charge, because he can say that, because that's a defense that he has to put up during a trial. He can say self-defense, but again, that has to be argued as part of his defense in the case, but the prosecution can charge him with murder one. He can say whatever. He can say he wasn't there. He didn't do it. Those are defenses.
Okay.
Yeah, you can claim self-defense as an entire defense because now the burden of proof is on the prosecution. You see what I'm saying?
Always.
Yeah.
So I think he was about to answer a question. I'm sorry, Will.
No, go ahead. You got it.
So we just had this. We just had to wait and see. This is a case that no one knows anything because of the limited release of information, and we won't know anything until testimony starts on Thursday. So right now we're just kind of speculating what it could be. In my experience in covering these type of cases, if I had more information, I could give a better analysis on the possibility of how jurors can view the evidence based on some of the pretrial motions that have been filed and ruled on by Judge Roach.
Yeah, one of the grand cases. Actually, this happened on an episode of my show because one of my, I would say, fellow content creators, they came up and they knew that I was a part of moderating the what was the boy's name? The one they say with the AR-15. I can't remember his name at the moment because that was so long ago.
Which one?
The one they said that he carried an AR-15 across state lines.
Kyle Rittenhouse. I thought about that as well in his defense. Yeah.
So a fellow content creator came to my platform and he said, well, you supported Kyle Rittenhouse. I said, no, I didn't support Kyle Rittenhouse. I supported the truth. They was like, well, he was down there, I'm being YouTube safe, deleting African Americans. I said, you do understand that never happened, right? And see, this is what I mean by when people put out misinformation or they sensationalize their arguments based on their political affiliations or race relations, we have to make sure we put the correct information out.
Absolutely.
When it came down to this Karmelo Anthony case, the only thing that we have that's a fact is Austin Metcalf is he is deceased. We have the statement from Karmelo Anthony, we have the statement from the school resource officer, and we have the statement from the police officer. That's it. That's the only evidence. That's the only facts that's resounding in this case. Everything else is just speculation.
Right.
And
it's not enough to convict. It's not enough to convict right now. We don't have the information to convict.
So what about his brother's testimony?
Or to find him not guilty. I'm sorry, Dante.
Yes, sir. What about his brother's statement as a witness? What about that? That's a key witness right there.
Well, I mean, that could be a powerful witness. It could,
absolutely.
Again,
because the only thing they have on the other young fella is his word against his word, basically. But the other twin brother has a witness. He's a witness. He was right there. He's a key factor. So they do have a statement for him. So that's going to play a lot. Definitely.
They have a statement from not only the brother, but also everyone else that was in the vicinity as well. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is, even like with the statement from the brother, because I got into an argument about this. The notion that they was trying to bully him, and I said, where'd you get that notion? Oh, well, they was trying to jump him. I said, where'd that notion come from? Oh, from what he said in the interview.
Okay, so he says something. Think about this. If he says it in the interview, he's given his this is already putting his version of it. What his account is no different than the brother is putting his account. So they both have accounts of what happened. Now the question is, who will the jurors believe?
Thank you.
Right.
That's what it falls down to. And this is why I said, like, I'm glad that you brought up the Diddy case. I'm surprised the way that the Diddy case went, because if you really pay attention to how it is, like I said at the beginning, it's not about.
I was in the courtroom. 26.
You was in the courtroom?
Yes, I covered the Diddy trial. I was in the courtroom. Yes.
So the thing about it is, it's not about right or wrong. It's about what I think Diddy should have went away for. They could have charged Diddy with a whole bunch of things, but they focused on his.
Hold on. What do you mean they could have charged him with a bunch of things? You have information that he
No. Oh, what I'm saying is they could have charged him with whatever it is that they wanted to charge him with. But the thing is that they tried to charge him with, and then try to say it was a RICO charge, I'm just like, you do not understand that's not going to stick. Like if you read through the criteria of what's needed to be met to even get him on RICO,
right?
Everything they was charging him with was not going to stick.
Right. Okay. No, I concur with you there, and I was there. I knew the case from not going in, but listening to the evidence. Not going in, I had a preconceived notion because I went in thinking that a bunch of celebrities' names was about to be dropped all over the place.
Absolutely.
Entertainers, I'm thinking, I was thinking that Mary J was coming into her Mary J walk in the courtroom and give a test. I thought blacks. I just assumed there was going to be a lot of celebrities coming in there, and it wasn't. When I heard who the entertainers were, I don't know these people.
Right. So, but the reason I brought that up is because, like, looking at this the Karmelo Anthony case,
right?
It's a lot of things that could have been that's going to come up, that could have been charged with, that's going to come out. And the thing is like you said, that jury of 12, you have to convince a jury of 12, not 11, 12, that either your argument is that he did this, or the defense is this was self-defense. Literally, they don't have to give any other thing other than this was self-defense. But I was saying in the chat earlier, if I was the prosecutor, then you would have to argue, or I would argue proportionality. But again, the jury needs to believe my argument.
Right. The jury needs to believe your argument. No different than the jury needs to believe the defense argument as well. It's again, we're going to know more in the next couple of days than we know now, and that's a guarantee. Unless
can I give a little bit of rebuttal right quick?
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
My rebuttal is self-defense is my argument. I don't need to make another case, other than the fact that this person came at me and I was defending myself. That's an absolute defense. You see what I'm saying?
A defense that has to be sold to the jurors.
There you go. It has to be sold to the jurors, and that's the sale. Right. Now, the reason I brought up the Kyle Rittenhouse case is because one difference, like I was not for it, but they put Kyle Rittenhouse on the stand. And I'm just like, why would you do that? But at the same time, I'm glad they did put Kyle Rittenhouse on the stand. Because he didn't have to.
They didn't have to, and this could be another live, but I did have issues with his testimony.
Absolutely.
It didn't balance with the actions prior, during, and even afterwards. But that's a conversation for another day.
Absolutely.
No different than I watched George Zimmerman take the stand in the killing of Trayvon Martin. There were things that was happening before, during, and not afterwards, but it was a very interesting case. It was to a point where, like, he didn't have to say anything to Trayvon. He didn't know if Trayvon's dad lived on the property. He just decided that because he was wearing a hoodie, walking in a community that he didn't see before, and he thought he was somebody that, because he had a hood on. It's just weird. People have these perceptions of people because of the way they dress, and that's not fair. That's just wrong. And obviously, from my perspective, jurors got it wrong, and clearly based on what he's done afterwards,
yes,
it kind of proved the point many people have already felt. Just why did you? And again, it's going to be a situation that, well, why didn't he just leave him alone? Why didn't he just ignore him?
Right.
They're going to say, in this case, why didn't Karmelo not just leave the tent when they said get out? That's an invitation to leave.
Well, he didn't have to leave the tent.
Well,
there was no restriction that he couldn't be under the tent, not due to inclement weather. There was no restriction from that.
Again, I said earlier, a good run is better than a bad stand.
There you go.
Was that the mountain he wanted to die on? Like, pun intended. But you make these decisions, and again, he's 17 years old. 17 years is pretty smart. I was smart at 17. I wasn't, a Rhodes Scholar, but I was pretty smart at 17. I would weigh the risk with the gain. I would not just, if you know that you are the only person that is unwanted there. And I don't know the evidence. I'm just, if that is the case, we don't. In that moment, you don't know what was happening. You don't know if he was cornered. You don't know if they said, "Nigga, get out! What are you doing here? We don't got no nigga." Excuse me the term, but you don't know what the conversation was. You don't know what his history was. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I just got a text. I got to run. I appreciate both my guests and the ones that were on prior. We will be back here. Do me a favor, Will, before I leave. Hit that notification bell, follow, and you too, Dante. I appreciate you both coming up.
I got you, man. I want to say thank you for having me up. Thank you for the conversation.
Appreciate both of you.
I'll cover the story with you. I want to learn and grow as much as I can too. Definitely.
Absolutely. And this is just the first day. I'll be back shortly. So I'm just waiting for my updates from my team that's inside the courtroom, and then I'll be going live. So Tony, keep your notifications on. I think I'm gonna keep the stream. I don't know if I should keep the stream going. No, I think we'll start a new stream. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate everyone being here today, and I'll see you on the next live.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So that, there you have it. I appreciate you guys being here. Again, I had to handle some business, but I appreciate everyone. This has been a very healthy conversation. People were very respectful. They have their opinions. We all have our opinions, but what it matters at the end of the day is what the evidence bears. If it bears, for Karmelo, great. If it bears for the state, again, that's what the outcome is. With that, I'll see you guys on my next live.
This is Truth Uncut. From the culture to the courtroom, front row seats. When Dennis Byron speaks, history speaks. From the culture to the courtroom, front row seats. When Dennis Byron speaks, history speaks. From the culture.
No cap, no spin, just facts. If it matters, we cover it. On Shreddy B.I.B.